Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Words I Choose to Live By. I'm Cyrus Webb, joined by our co-hosts for today, Tina Siemens, Melissa Banks, and Dr. Velma Bagby. We want to welcome those tuning in on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. We're going to welcome in our friends joining us on Instagram. We're about to bring in our friends over on Amazon Live as well. We're excited about today's show, and we're glad you all can be with us. And we welcome those tuning in on the Amazon platform. I'm Cyrus Webb, joined by our co-host for this episode of Words I Choose to Live By. If you guys are new to us on Amazon, make sure you guys do hit that follow button. We have some exciting programming 6 days a week here on Amazon. You'll see it either here in this corner or down below. You also will see in what we call the carousel, my book as well as the books of our co-hosts. We're excited to talk about week number 7 in my book. It's hard to believe this year is really flying by. The message today is walking in your worthiness, but how's everybody doing today?
Doing great.
Doing great.
Awesome. Glad to be able to see all of you. And we do have a special announcement for everyone at the end of the broadcast. So make sure you guys do stay tuned to the end. I think you guys are going to like that. So as I mentioned, it's week number 7. The message is walking in your worthiness. And this is what I wrote for this particular week. Not feeling worthy. Think of the breath of life that was breathed into your body to help you start your day. Because you are here, you have been given a gift worth showing appreciation for. Don't waste the opportunity. This is something that is so important for me because I have always tried to, no matter what's going on in the world, to be appreciative just for being here. I think a lot of times we want so much extra instead of realizing just us being alive is a gift in itself. It's a gift that not everyone was given today. And so I've always tried to realize that, one, it's a gift to be here, but also how can I make the most of that gift, because we know that life is fleeting. And that is something that has really helped me. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the panel. Tina, what about for yourself? How important has it been for you every day to walk in your worthiness?
It is such a beautiful gift to know that every day is a gift. It's a new chapter, and it is something that no matter what happened yesterday, whether we failed in our eyes or whether we succeeded, but today is a brand new day. And for me to have that on a daily basis is such an amazing gift. And I was reminded of Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. It says, when God formed Adam, he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And so for us to have that breath of life in us, each one of us, anew every day. And when I did a study on why the nostrils and not the mouth, like EMTs, it's always doing mouth to mouth. But this says God breathed into his nostrils. And so I was so blessed to know the nose is our discernment, because he breathed the breath of life into his nostril was for discernment, because we smell and that makes our decision. So for that breath to be in us is a discernment of God in each one of us, and that lets us make that choice for the day. Will I take the opportunity, or will I just sit back and bury my gifts? So I'm just grateful to be here doing what God has called me to do. And that is today, be faithful in the breath that he's given me.
Love that. Great start to this. Thanks a lot for that, Tina. Melissa, what about for yourself? How important has it been for you to make sure that you are walking in your worthiness?
It's what keeps me going. It's how I get out of bed in the morning. Just that knowledge that I am worthy, because I didn't always feel that way. You've heard me talk about some of the things that I've gone through. So I didn't always feel that I was worthy to be here. In fact, I hadn't always felt that I wanted to be here. But what has happened is, as I transitioned and grew in the knowledge and the acceptance, you know what? I am worthy. I was created in God's image. And my favorite, and you all know it by now, is I am a masterpiece. I repeat those things to me, Cyrus, and that reminds me that I am worthy, that I'm here for a purpose, that someone has to hear my voice. That gets me up in the morning. Oh my gosh, before I realized that all I thought about was all the failures, everything that wasn't happening, those negative voices that was telling me that I wasn't worthy, and I was buying into that. But now that I know that I know that I know, because you have to know in your gut that you are worthy, then you have to lean into those things that remind you, which are the affirmations that I say every single day. So I am worthy and I'm grateful, and it's precious. And it's a beautiful thing to know that you know that you know that you are worthy.
Exactly. So true. I want to say for you guys who are coming in on Amazon, appreciate you guys showing us the love. You'll notice as each of the co-hosts are talking, we're highlighting their books for them, their most latest book. We did it for Tina with her book Post Oak. Now you see us with the new book by Melissa, and feel free to be able to check those out as we're going throughout our segment there. Dr. Velma, what about for yourself? How important has it been for you to make sure that you are walking in your worthiness?
I have to say ditto to what my co-hosts have already said. They have really opened up this dialogue and conversation perfectly. What can I add other than to accept and receive everything they've said as truth? And so therefore, it's important for us to know it. And like Melissa said, I had to discover it in myself. I had to accept who God said I am, because the world will say something different about me. I came up through the 60s. Being raised by a single mother with 7 children. So there were certain catchphrases about me that would chip away at my worthiness. So it took me some time to rediscover who God said that I am, and to accept it and receive it despite what the world might say, despite what I may have experienced. I accept what God says about me, and every day that's who I am. That's the only way I can move, live, and breathe and have my being, is to know if God is never wrong, then he must be right about me.
Yeah, love that. My mom is watching us over there on Facebook. Hey, Mom, good to be able to
Hello,
see
yes,
you. Give us
Sister Eddie.
a thumbs up.
Oh,
Yeah, she's on Facebook at 77, so I have to make sure
That's
my.
beautiful.
being very nice to me since my mom is.
Be yourself, Miss Eddie.
But I also say in this message though, and this is something again that it is. We know this. All of us know this.
Mm-hmm.
But walking in this part is not as easy. I wrote in here, because you are here, you have been given a gift worth showing appreciation for.
Mm-hmm.
Life will come to us, Melissa, and sometimes we don't do that part. We don't always show up the way we know we're supposed to show up because of what we've been given. What helps you to keep going even in those moments when you don't feel like showing up?
You know what helps me, Cyrus, is first of all admitting that I'm in that moment. You know, sometimes we're not true to ourselves, and I say that often. Is in that moment I have to admit, you know what? I'm just looking at everything that's happening that's not good, and I'm repeating those thoughts, and I'm making a list of what didn't work in my head. So when I get in those moments, what helps me get through is just acknowledging it, and then changing the voice in my head to appreciation, to grateful. You've heard me say before, it's always something to be grateful for. I don't care what else is going on or how bad other things seem to be, that is always something to be grateful for. So once I get in the place of gratitude, I can move through that moment of feeling discouraged or not appreciating where I am. And I move into gratitude and acceptance that I'm here because I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah, so true. Dr. Van, what about you? I mean, people look at all of us and they think, every day we just show up ready for the world. But what, but what is it that helps you to show up, giving out your gift, even when you don't feel like it?
That's the best time I give it out. To me, when I look back on those experiences, when I'm looking at waiting for God to move in my own life, and yet he uses me to minister to someone going through a certain situation, those are the best moments I've had. It's because I'm able to set aside what I'm waiting on to help this person in need of my time. And so I think it's important for us to always recognize we're not always going to be in the perfect place, because God is not looking for perfection. If he was looking for that, none of us would be on this panel talking about what we're talking about. He's not looking for perfection. He's perfect, but he works through us to do what we need to do. And then we have to recognize that who we are is who we're supposed to be, because whom he did foreknow, he also predestinated. So who he knew beforehand, before we even discovered who we're supposed to be and what we should be doing, he had predestinated. He already had a plan for our lives. And so we have to acknowledge that and accept it. And they're not going to always be perfect situations. I'm not going to not help someone just because my situation hasn't gotten fixed yet. I'm going to do what I've been called to do and help that person along the way, because it might be just what's supposed to push me to the place I'm trying to get to. So it's important for us to not to be selfish, because to me that sounds a little selfish. Well, you have to fix your own problem because I haven't gotten mine fixed yet. So that's pretty opposite to what God has called us to do. So in my journey and in my experience, God has taught me how to love even to the unlovable, even to the ones who don't appear to be lovable. And even in that situation, if I've been called to help in some kind of way, I'm still going to do it because that's who God called me to be.
Love that. Love that. Tina, what about for yourself? When you don't feel like showing up, when you don't feel like walking in your worthiness, what helps you to keep going in spite of that?
It rings true in my ears what my pastor said years ago. When you don't feel like praying, I'm going to give you what you can do if you don't feel like praying. And he was quiet for a moment and he said, that's when you really pray, when we don't feel like praying. And so often we feel like that door should be open for me. I thought that's what I heard, or that's my pre-assumption that this is what I should be doing. But then that door keeps being closed. And then that's when we stay in the hallway and pray through it. And there might be other people in the hallway, like Dr. Velma said. There might be people that are needing my advice, needing for me to speak up of what I've experienced in the past. So for me to share in those moments when I am waiting for that door in front of me to open up, then share what doors have opened or what doors were closed for a purpose and how that helped me. So being in prayer, and then God will allow people to cross our path that will benefit from the experiences that he's allowed us or me to go through. And so for me to be quiet enough to say, Lord, your will be done. That often takes so much concentration because we are doers, we are fixers, we are the ones that are forging the pathway forward. But sometimes I have to just sit back and say, Lord, may your will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Such a great reminder, I think, for all of us. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, welcome. You all are with us for Word That Choose to Live By. You all are either watching us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, or Instagram, or on Amazon Live. If you guys are on Amazon, make sure you guys do hit that follow button. We're expanding our audience. I'm going to tell you guys more about that here in a bit. It won't change anything that you guys are experiencing here. It may change the way I talk to you a little bit, but it's going to be an exciting thing. But today we're talking about the message from my book, Word That Choose to Live By. I'm going to highlight for you guys in the carousel here. And today we're talking about the message of walking in your worthiness, realizing the gifts that you have, and then being able to share that gift. So, Dr. Velma, I'm going back to you now. What would you say to our audience about the importance of walking in their worthiness today?
First, discovering it. And if you don't know that you're worthy, then I would say take it to God and make sure that you pursue him and his word. So in his word, he will help you to see what he created in you. Then pray for your purpose. What is it that God has created you to do? I talked about being predestinated, whom he did foreknow. I talked about the fact that he knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb. He knew everything. And then he wrote down the elements of you in his book. He knows you already, and he knows the purpose he has created you to accomplish. So make sure you're in pursuit of that. For those of us who are in that mode and we do know what our worth, hold on to it, because there are many things that will grab and try to chip away at what you believe about yourself. I trust what God says, and I will hold on to that. I also trust what God expects of me. And that is, I am not to be like everybody else in terms of those who don't know and those who don't want to be to do what's right. None of that. I have chosen to do what God has called me to do. And sometimes that means you have to love and show respect and honor to those that don't necessarily have it. But you still have to do it because he's done it for us. And so I'm grateful for him to help me to discover who I am. There will be rough times. Yes, they will come. Expect those. I saw that later on in the week, Cyrus talks about it in this particular segment about going through the refiner's fire. I remember those moments going through the fire. I'm going, okay, God, I'm doing everything you told me to do. What's going on here? And ignored the fact that he said, There will be times when we have to be refined, just like the diamond has to get all the dross taken off of it in order for it to become the beautiful diamond God wants it to be. So it is with us. We will go through those experiences. Not that you've done anything wrong. It's just that God is preparing you for what he has on the other side of all of this. So he has to get you ready. Maybe there's more dross that he has to get off of your life so he can get you ready for where he's taking you. So keep in mind that all of this is a process. Stay focused on who you are and who God has called you to be.
Well said. Tina, what about for you? What would you say to our audience to help them understand the importance of walking in their worthiness today?
I would reiterate, know your why, know your purpose. And once you do that, it just makes everything so much easier because now you have a goal, you have a path forward, and all you then do is walk that pathway and then deal with every day the things that come against you. There will be many, many things that will try to derail you or try for you to exit off your pathway. But keep your focus on the Heavenly Father, because he is the one that gave you this desire. He gave you this purpose. So if we just do what we're called to do, then that is half the battle, I believe, in my life. It was in my life knowing when I was struggling on what should I do. I had desires, but circumstances hadn't allowed me to get to those. But once they did, then it was just so much easier because I knew my purpose. And for me to do that is just it enlightens the load, and it makes it so much worthier to go forward on a daily basis, knowing that you are doing what you were called to do. So be encouraged. If yesterday didn't work out, try again today, and you will make gain grounds by just being purposeful and obedient.
So that's a great point. Melissa, what about you? What would you say to our audience about the importance of recognizing and walking in their worthiness?
This is what I would say. If you look back over your journey, at those times that you were at your lowest and you thought, this is it, there's no more. I've been in that dark place. I've been at that dark place that I didn't feel worthy. And I know that sometimes you have been too, but what has happened? Look back. God brought you through. It looked like it was the final night. I can remember, and I've talked about this publicly, that period where I was going through domestic violence, and that night that I thought I was going to die, that was the night. But oh my God Almighty, he brought me through that. And when I get down and out, I look at different times in my life that I thought that was the end. Yep. I look at the pandemic and I thought my dream had died, but my dream flourished because God had so much more planned for me. And then I say to myself, if I only knew what God was up to, I would not have considered that it was over. If I had only knew what he had planned for me, then I would have known that the next step was there and I was going to get there. And I say to you, wherever you are, on those days that you're feeling like it's over, you look at what God has already done and trust and believe he has a plan for you. And it's going to happen for you as long as you keep going, because you're here for a purpose or you wouldn't be here. You're here because you're assigned, your voice is assigned to somebody and you need to be here to deliver that voice. I say to you, on those days that you're not feeling worthy, look back and see what God has already brought you through.
Such a great message and such a great reminder, I think, for all of us. Again, everyone, week number 7 in my book, Word That She's Lived By, Walking in Your Worthiness. It's a great reminder for all of us. For those on the Amazon side, I'm going to highlight my book there in the carousel. We have the new edition that you guys will see there as well. But the message is the same. If you have my original 2nd edition, you can get the same message there as well. It's a great reminder for all of us. Appreciate everyone's thoughtful responses today. I really appreciate it. This was a really good show. Tina, before we wrap up, let our audience know, how can they stay connected with you?
Well, I would just encourage you, don't waste the opportunity. And I would love to hear from you. You can go on my website, Tina Siemens, at Seminole the Book at gmail.com, or you can connect with me on Facebook and Instagram.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Tina, Melissa, how can I stay connected with you?
As always, everything's right there at themelissabanks.com. You can listen to some of our messages that women share on our show, Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. And you can also connect with us on all of our social media. Everything's right there at themelissabanks.com.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Melissa, Dr. Velma, how can I stay connected with you?
I'm on all social media platforms as Dr. Velma Bagby, and you can subscribe to my website and stay connected to everything that's happening with me. So I thank you, looking forward to it. And just remember, everybody has a purpose. So do you.
Such a great reminder. Thank you for that, Dr. Velma. I appreciate all of you. Now, as I mentioned, we did have some announcements. Don't worry, I have not been fired, so I will still continue to be to be here. So that's the first of the good news. But the second is we are expanding our territory with a few new things that are kicking off today, but also some brand new things happening tomorrow. The first thing I want to say is what you guys may not know. I know you know all of our co-hosts are authors, but two of them, Melissa Banks and also Dr. Velma Bagby, are also co-hosts of not only this show, but also hosts of their own. And you heard Melissa say she has her show, Dream by Design with Melissa Banks, also the Melissa Banks Show. Dr. Velma is the host of Finding Your Voice, and Dr. Taz Talks.
Dr. Velma Talks.
Dr. Velma Talks. I have so many doctors around here. Dr. Velma Talks. Look, I had the talks part right, so I should get credit for that. But they also are bringing their shows to our lineup on the radio dial where I am in Mississippi. As I'm celebrating 10 years on Max WYAD 94.1 FM beginning this week, you all can be able to catch our co-host along with three of our colleagues, that being Tanya White, also Earl Hall, and there's Dr. Taz. You can be able to catch them on Max WYD after my show, Conversations Live. So Conversations Live will be coming on, as it always has, on the radio dial at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. After it wraps up each evening, you will then be able to hear the shows that you guys see on your screen. So it kicks off actually today with Dr. Velma, her interview with me on her show, Finding Your Voice. Then, of course, you'll be able to, throughout the week, be able to catch the other co-hosts as well. We're very excited about this development as we're expanding our territory, not only, of course, on the internet, but also on the radio dial as well. Also, we are taking this show to another platform as well. We will still be here on Amazon. We'll still be on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and Instagram. But we also are bringing this show now to WYAD here in Mississippi, where I'm on the radio dial. So you'll be able to hear this show at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on Tuesday evenings. So that's the show that will be airing Tuesday evening. So the show that we do on Monday will then be airing on Tuesdays on the radio dial, and that will begin next week. It's a great opportunity for us to share the weekly inspiration. So you may not hear me say Happy Monday, because for them it will be Tuesday, and that could be a little weird. So I will just welcome you all to Words I Choose to Live By, and just know if you guys are joining us live, of course, it's Monday. If you guys are joining us on the radio, it's Tuesday. But I want to say to Tina, to Melissa, to Dr. Velma, that I'm so glad to be able to bring you guys to my home state of Mississippi, to be able to be on the radio dial with us. And I'm excited about this new adventure for the show.
We're excited. Thank you.
I'm excited.
Well, good.
Congratulations. That's exciting.
Thank you. It's exciting for all of us. And speaking of congratulations and being excited, if you guys did not notice on the Amazon side, my little friends here, they're on sale right now on Amazon. I have them highlighted in the carousel, our friendly neighborhood jellyfish that everyone on the panel loves. You get 3 of them in the container. All you have to do is add the water. You can get it right now for only $19.99. Also, if you're looking for some motivation, you may have noticed this saying I have here, I can and I will. You can get a set of 9 of these. A set of 9 of these for $12.99. They are made out of real wood. You can see there. A great addition to your desk, to your office. Also makes for some great gift ideas. You can get those on Amazon while you guys are enjoying our show. So Tina, Melissa, Dr. Velma, another great episode. Thank you all so much, and looking forward to next week.
Thank you. We are too.
Thank you.
Right. And we thank your audience for tuning in to this week's episode of Words I Choose to Live By. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.